morning, everyone. Welcome to the November 20th, 2025 Cuyahoga County Equity Commission meeting. First, I'd like to call to order. It is 10:02, and I'll start to call the attendance for the Equity Commission members. Sarah Nemisto,
Here.
Chris Murray,
Here.
and Lenora Lockett. So we have a quorum. We did not meet in August. There was a short notice on the cancellation. But as such, we still need to review and approve the minutes from our May 15, 2025 meeting. Are there any questions or corrections or changes to the drafts of the meeting minutes? Okay, are we ready to take action?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Don't have any public comment,
No public comment.
and I also checked the email. No email comments. Now we'll do opening remarks. We'll start with the commissioners, and we also have as a representative from the Department of Development whose voting commission members were not able to be in attendance, but they sent Mr. Stella here
Yes.
to give his update. So if you don't mind, maybe I'll go first and then we'll come back over there.
Sure.
So thank you, Mr. Stella, for providing an update.
Sure. Again, my name is Anthony Stella with Department of Development, here on behalf of Vaughn Johnson, who's in training this week off-site. So since the last meeting, the department has been working on some significant MBE programs and initiatives. And we'll be continuing our series of inviting capital partners to share how they leverage resources to support small businesses. So we'll have Janice Contreras should be here today, and from the Hispanic Center, and Carrie Miller from HFLA also to speak on their programs. Some internal things we're doing. We've been ramping up use of Salesforce in our office so that we'll be able to track all sorts of metrics, MBE, WBE, all those things included. So we'll be able to much more efficiently track that as much as other information that we have. We're continuing some work with smaller commercial real estate developers through collaboration with Cleveland Development Advisors, Goldman Sachs, 10,000 Small Businesses, and UBiz. Some of the pipeline projects, some of the more direct lending and support we've been doing. We recently, developer James Sosin, Africa Town Plaza, an MBE developer who's redeveloping a property on Cedar Avenue in Cleveland, the historic YMCA. We recently dispersed his loan of $500,000 to support that project. We have in the pipeline some other projects, including AKA Construction, StartRight, Community Development Corporation, and another project, Midtown Yard, which is also an MBE project. At our last loan committee meeting, we approved a loan for Birthing Beautiful Communities, which everybody may be familiar with that entity. We approved $2 million, and we'll be hoping to try to get that closed this year so that we can, because they have a big new market structure they're closing, and they'll be breaking ground soon. So that's a great project for them. And then some of the Office of Small Business, some year-to-date metrics. Over 1,000 small businesses this year that have been assisted. 800 of them are minority or female-owned. There's been 53 small business loans that were done through our capital partners, because we don't do any of that lending directly. There were $2 million in loans, 35 to MBE or WBEs, 3,500 hours of technical assistance, which is the biggest service that's provided. You would think would be lending, but really these small businesses, the technical assistance is really what they need the most. We expect to serve about 1,200 businesses in total by the end of 2025 for this year. And we're working with about 65 total resource and capital partners. And within the first quarter, we should have a new RFQ going out for the next round of capital partners for small business support. That's,
Great news.
yep, it's a lot of good stuff happening in the Department of Development. And hopefully 2026, we keep the momentum going.
Good, thank you. Any questions?
No questions.
I'm not allowed to ask questions.
Um,
That's okay. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. I don't know the structure, so.
That's a new one.
I'm sorry, I've never been here. I don't know how this works.
Sorry, Sarah?
Good morning, Sarah Nemastel. I'm the Director of Human Resources for the County Executive. So in terms of updates from our department, we're pleased that the proposed 2027 biennium budget included funding for the county's tuition reimbursement program. In terms of an update of statistics in 2025 so far, HR received more than 80 applications to participate in the program. And again, participation is at one of three institutions, Baldwin Wallace, Cuyahoga Community College, or CSU. CSU being the most popular institution for which people participate in the program. Last month, HR launched a new performance management program. It's a pilot we're doing with non-bargaining just this year. And so we've been embroiled in all things performance management, but there's lots of information for county employees on the intranet if you're interested, on our intranet page under performance management. We've also continued, I've talked about it before this meeting, but we've continued working on our compensation philosophies and policies in 2025. And so we've been working with a consultant, Troop HR, who is going to help us reformulate our policies and philosophy for compensation at the county. And so Troop this year has engaged in some focus groups. Those were primarily with department management and leadership, and also conducted employee surveys across the county for all employees. So recently we received, just recently I guess, their report and recommendations on those two items. And so we look forward to digging into that and taking next steps on this project. Our internal inclusion committee also hosted an excellent and informative panel discussion in September on voting as part of its Can We Talk Conversations That Matter series. This presentation was primarily focused on the import of local election, making sure that you vote. The panel featured Anthony Colliger, the Deputy Director of the County Board of Elections, and Angela Gates, who is the Senior Strategist at Cleveland Votes. If you didn't have an opportunity to watch, you can still watch on our YouTube page.
Any questions? Well.
All right, no questions.
Chris?
Good morning, my name is Christopher Murray, and I'm the Assistant Director for Health and Human Services on behalf of David Merriman. I have two updates. The first being the ongoing implications of HR 1, otherwise known as the Big Beautiful Bill passed by Congress in July. As many of you know, HR 1 is impacting the delivery of SNAP and Medicaid benefits, and they are, in terms of impacts, we're looking at additional federal penalties for any errors that the county or the states make concerning issuance of food stamps and Medicaid. There's also new work there's new work mandates for seniors and other affected populations, i.e., in order to receive benefits, some benefits now, you are going to be required for work requirements, which is new. And there's also increased administrative burdens placed on the state for the administration food stamps and SNAP and Medicaid. So all of this in conjunction with the shutdown has obviously greatly impacted our JFS operations. I am pleased to say, though, that the county executive did launch a partnership with the Greater Cleveland Funders Collaborative, and this Funders Collaborative is going to assist us with making some targeted investments to address some of the administrative burdens that are going to be placed on us due to HR 1. It has also become a central hub for information as well as a tool to increase some funding for emergency food assistance within the community. The information for our, as we're calling it, the Hunger Response Task Force is on the Cuyahoga County website. It's cuyahogacounty.gov/HRT. For those individuals that still need assistance with food, we're asking that you please contact United Way 211, as well as the Greater Cleveland Food Bank Community Resource Center. As far as the impacts of the shutdown, SNAP benefits were issued partially on November 12th, with the balance of those benefits that are required have been loading onto cards this week for recipients of SNAP and SNAP benefits. I was going to say Medicaid. We don't have those changes yet. But for the benefits of SNAP, we're asking clients to use your Connect EBT accounts with the website information. That's the best way for you to stay in contact with us and monitor your accounts. If you had SNAP benefits on your card prior to October 31st, it is still there. December should be normal distribution, and at this point, the deal to reopen the government allows SNAP to continue through fall of next year. And then the second update, I am pleased to announce that we have two new partners for our seasonal homeless shelter program, Metanoia, in conjunction with Mount Zion Baptist Church, and also the Northeast Ohio Coalition for the Homeless has procured a site. And again, this is for seasonal shelter, which is traditionally November through February. This will allow us to house an additional 80 people that are not in our traditional shelters. Any questions?
Again, good afternoon, good morning. Lenora Lockett, Department of Equity and Inclusion. I'm just going to give a brief overview of what the Department of Equity and Inclusion has been doing since our May meeting, since we did not meet in August. In June, in collaboration with HR and the Personnel Review Commission, we had the Mid-Year Equity Summit. The target audience for that was any supervisor or higher in the county's workforce. We have more than 200. I think it was a very beneficial based on reviews and the content. And I also, again, want to thank Sarah and also PRC for collaborating on that event. That was the Mid-Year Equity Summit. It was virtual. In July, we had the second of 3 vendor fairs, which provides opportunities for vendors to come and get face-to-face assistance with our procurement process, if they want to get certified with the county, and or the Office of Small Business, get information about resources that's available. Moreover, they can meet the procurement staff for a lot of our top purchasing or by quantity departments such as Public Works, Human Resources, Health and Human Services. again, are there to provide that opportunity. That third vendor fair was held in October. We had 3 in 2025, that was April, and then again, July, we had the second one. The third one was followed up in October. In August, we had our second iteration of the managers training, which provides the foundational equity and inclusive training to managers and supervisors. We try to provide that currently every 6 months. So that was provided in August. Previously, it was provided earlier in the year in February. The target audience is newly hired or promoted managers and/or managers that might want a refresher since the last time they received the training, which we started providing it in 21, 22, first initially by Tri-C. That was August, and in September, we had our second issuance, the second phase of the annual What's Next program. We have the initial March virtual kickoff, which is just a summary and review of what the county departments and agencies did in the prior year and what they're committing to doing for the advancement of equity and inclusion for the upcoming year. Our September sessions of What's Next are focused on a topic that was the top survey topic of interest. This year's topic was microaggressions, do's and don'ts. So there were 2 sessions provided on strategies for addressing microaggressions that happen in the workplace and beyond. So it was focused on workplace, but people skills are usable outside of the workplace also. And in October, in addition to the vendor fair, we also had the second 6-month follow-up for the town hall. Again, similar to the manager's foundational training on equity and inclusion, the town hall is offered every 6 months. The previous iteration was provided in August, so October being the second iteration of that training. And that target audience is any county employee, and it is focused on new hires and/or people that may have taken it, as I stated, 2 or 3 years ago, but wanted an update. So that was what we've done since May. We're doing the standard end of the year process. That includes our forecast that's updated every 6 months. The previous forecast was posted July 1st. The next requirement is that we post it January 1st. The forecast is our 24-month purchasing plan, and the goal is that additional advanced understanding of what the county plans to purchase provides opportunities not only for existing vendors, but any vendor that's looking for business opportunities with the county. They have an opportunity to view what we plan to buy or purchase or contract for within the upcoming 24-month period, so that they can gear up and team or just prepare any background research and preparation that they want to do, so that they're able to submit competent bids and proposals in response to those opportunities when they're posted. That completes what we're planning to do. The team is gonna look at our general processes to see how we can augment, make better the programs that we're offering in the upcoming year. Are there any questions? All right, so the next item on the agenda is the best part of the meeting, where we get to hear information and insight. First up is Renee Timberlake with Built Environment Collaborative. And first I want to say, we went to the GCPQ Symposium this year, and her team was in one of the breakout sessions, and I thought the information was so valuable and important that I approached her afterwards. She was always open. We had to get the schedules together, and a lot has happened, but we're finally here in November. So thank you for being agreeable from the beginning and following through. And it's a good opportunity to hear the information that you're going to provide today on your program.
Thank you, Lenora. I'm really happy we met there, and I'm really happy to be here with you all. So I do have a slide deck that I think is queued up over there. Lovely. So here we go. So quick overview of the Built Environment Collaborative. It says here, powered by Greater Cleveland Works. And probably a lot of people in this room know that Greater Cleveland Works is the Cleveland-Cuyahoga County Workforce Development Board. So we are both the city and the county's public arm of workforce development. So if you could go to the next slide. Oh, wonderful.
Sorry, I didn't
Even
even-
better. I have no idea how to use it. We'll
Green
just-
button does for it.
Green, okay, big green button, great. Um, So here, let me go back here just for a second. I seem to be diving right into the components of the Built Environment Collaborative on the next slide. But I think it's important for you all to know also that the Built Environment Collaborative was funded through ARPA funds to the city of Cleveland. And so the city of Cleveland gave Greater Cleveland Works $10 million to operate the Built Environment Collaborative. The primary goals of the Built Environment Collaborative are to basically to increase, I'll show you some numbers here shortly, but to increase the number of Cleveland residents who are working in the building trades and sort of aligned careers. Because we know that once you're established in those jobs, it is a very good career and a very well-paying career. Even people talk about prevailing wages of construction. Like, we were at an event a couple of days ago and somebody mentioned that for, labor, you can make $32 an hour. That is without benefits. So benefits are on top of that hourly wage. So I think that's something that people who don't work in the field should know. So these are our areas of focus. I mentioned the building trades, but we also are looking at, so we look at construction, infrastructure, utilities and maintenance, climate action, remediation. So these are all the sectors that fall under the Built Environment Collaborative. And our target outcomes by December of 26 are to have 3,000 people enrolled in our training provider programs. As of June 2025, we have 1,752. We collect data every quarter. I did just get the last numbers, but our board hasn't seen them yet, so we're not sharing them publicly yet. 65% of those people should be Black Clevelanders, 13% Latinx Clevelanders, 30% women. We're looking for 800 what we consider grant-impacted placements would be people employed or put into apprenticeship positions, which are paid. And then 150 MBEs connected to capacity building resources, which, Anthony, is why I got so excited by your presentation. And so you can see as of June, we're hitting pretty close to a couple of those benchmarks, exceeding one of them in terms of demographics. And those demographics are based on the City of Cleveland school demographics. So we want the industry to reflect the population within the City of Cleveland so that we know, to your point about equity, we know that the industry is equitable for the community that they're working in. So that's where those numbers came from. So this is how the $10 million is broken down. It is fully allocated. So $8 million of it goes to program support for 9 or 10, depending on how you count it, different training providers. So those include organizations like Urban League and Towards Employment, who do some of the more like entry-level employability skills, and also, do you need a GED? Are you background involved? Are you justice involved, and you need some help navigating that? All the way to our pre-apprenticeship programs at Cleveland Built and Tri-C, which will then connect you directly into the trades and into other careers. $1 million goes to our minority business enterprise development. And there's some really exciting stuff happening there with specifically Aria Johnson's work at Greater Cleveland Partnership. She created and has just graduated the first cohort of the Build Strong program. And I'll talk maybe a little bit more about that in a second. Oops. And the last $1 million is what we call the Barrier Removal Fund. And this fund of money goes directly to participants in one of our programs. So they have to be part of the Built Environment Collaborative program, can also go to minority business enterprise development or enterprise owner, as long as they meet the sort of basic income guidelines. We've so far given out about $650,000 of that $1 million. And sorry, I don't actually remember how much detail I get into this later. So I'll just say really quickly that some of the things we've done are to help people buy cars. And we're actually working on an exciting program with HFLA and Cary that we'll probably not get to today, but to help people fully buy a car. with the barrier removal fund, we're doing some partial down payments, car repairs, childcare assistance, tools and gear, boots, steel toe boots, helmets, that kind of thing. We've also helped with a lot of driver's license reinstatements, some rental assistance, first last security deposit, or to keep people from being evicted. So there are really a lot of things that we've done with that fund. For the small businesses, we've helped with things like paying for licensures and insurance, paying for the startup equipment that businesses need to be able to, whether it's software, computers, or printers, that kind of thing, and some of the other typical things like car repairs and some of those needs. This is just a bunch of our partners, fun, happy picture. So here are the organizations that are part of the program support. So I'll give you just a minute to take a look at this. You can see that we have a pretty wide variety of partners included here. Some of them are youth serving, like Youth Opportunities Unlimited and ACE Mentor Program. These are not including the MBE support. We'll get to that in just a second. And it's really been a great group of folks to work with. These are the three organizations we're supporting for the Minority Business Enterprise Development. Contractor Assistance Association is the MBE branch of the Construction Employers Association, which is really the unifying body of the contractors, union-based contractors in this area. And then Urban League of Greater Cleveland has a small business center that we're helping to fund. We also have, so the Barrier Removal Fund, United Labor Agency is the organization that manages the fund. And then, as mentioned before, both participants and MBE owners are eligible for it. We also have what we're calling aligned partners. So these are organizations we work closely with, but weren't in that initial batch of funded partners. And I'm excited to say that we've actually just added 2 additional partners who are MBEs who do earn and learn opportunities. So they bring people in, train them, and then hire them in another area of their business. And so that just happened yesterday. I'm really excited about that. Okay, so the Barrier Removal Fund is really based on, we designed it on this concept that people know what they need and that we should trust them when they tell us what they need. And so we've set it up to be flexible, minimally restrictive, and generous. So for example, we just paid, there was an MBE owner who had gotten into a car accident uninsured years ago. Her pay had been docked for years. She lost her job, so she stopped being able to pay it. Her driver's license was suspended. She wasn't able to get more insurance. And we paid off the over $5,000 of the insurance money that she owed, and we also paid for the driver's license reinstatement fees that she needed to be able to be, legally driving again, and we covered the cost of repair to her truck. And so because of that investment, that a lot of other funds are not generous enough, set up to be generous enough to do that, she now has a business bank account that she couldn't set up before and is now able to start taking to bid out on subcontracting opportunities. So we've done some really, I think, exciting things with it. These are this is the way it's broken down. So most of it has gone towards gear and equipment. We outfitted a lot of the city's apprentices last winter, and winter gear is right before that really cold snap. And so that took up a big chunk of the funds. The next largest is transportation, largely for car repairs, but we'll also pay for bus passes and gas cards and stuff like that if people need it. We've also helped a bit with housing, as I mentioned before, union initiation fees, driver's license reinstatements, exam fees, stuff like that. We've had very little people ask for help with childcare, but we want to help with that, and we have helped a couple of people. And this is kind of how the spending has gone over time. I started a little over a year ago and really had to push the idea that this is real. I've talked to a few coaches who said we thought it was too good to be true, and so we weren't offering it to people. And as you can see, people have realized it is real, and it is as good as it sounds. So here are a couple of success stories. Courtney is now an iron worker. She was formerly justice involved. She went through Towards Employment's program first, and then went to the pre-apprenticeship program at Cleveland Builds. I just saw her on the what's it called, Global Peak Performance Center site just a couple of weeks ago. So she's helping to build the Cavs Training Center. She also, I think this picture was taken on the Cleveland Clinic's Neurological Center roof. So she's also helped build that. And I pointed out down here the prevailing wages doesn't mean that she's making this yet because she's still an apprentice, but the prevailing wage is $33.83 an hour. That's without benefits. So with benefits, it's $59 an hour. So that's one story. Maurice, I actually took this picture, so I had the pleasure of being in the front row seat when Maurice, who's a Cleveland resident, Cleveland Builds graduate, currently a second-year apprentice with the electricians and working for Einheit, was invited to come on stage with President Biden in November of last year, as Biden talked about the value of apprenticeships and how they're comparable to a college education. We had a great time. His kids were wonderful, and it was just a really fun experience. And Maurice is probably one of the most humble people I've ever met, and very well deserving of the attention and the accolade. A small business owner, she's actually the woman I was just talking about, and she was at, I don't know if you noticed, but she was at the event Tuesday, and just is really raring to go and ready to hire people, which is so exciting. It's kind of a full circle moment for the Built Environment Collaborative, that we have an MBE, FBE in this case, who has gotten to the point where she's grown enough that she can start hiring participants who are in the workforce side of the work. That's super exciting. And then Aria Johnson, who's one of my favorite people, is the person on the right, and she does some really great work through GCP. So one question I would love for you all to think about, I'm not going to ask you to talk about this now, but I mentioned before, this project is specifically for Cleveland, City of Cleveland residents. We've had to turn down a lot of people because they live outside of the city. We actually, an MBE, we just had an MBE who needed support, and depending on, she could write her address as Cleveland Heights or Cleveland and it would get to her, but technically she was Cleveland Heights, and so we couldn't support her through the Barrier Removal Fund. Fortunately, we had another national funder who was able to step up and help that person, but a lot of our partner organizations struggle with that delineation. Like they can't advertise that the assistance is available because the people who can't qualify for it are at a disadvantage to those who can. The good news in this case is that we did just receive $60,000 from the Cleveland Foundation, and we are going to be for the Barrier Removal Fund, and we're using it to expand the Barrier Removal Fund to county residents for the Built Environment Collaborative specifically. But I think we're doing a lot of really good work and would love to be able to work more closely with the county on making sure that we're supporting county residents as well. And that's all I've got.
I do have some questions. Thank you for coming in, Renee. Regarding the Barrier Removal Fund, you did touch on this briefly, but how are you? How do I say marketing the program? But how is your outreach efforts going with the justice impacted individuals? We have an Office of Reentry here in Cuyahoga County, so of course my wheels are turning. So
yeah, absolutely. So again, we work with our direct involvement with participants is through our partner organizations.
okay.
So both Towards Employment and Urban League do a
Okay.
significant amount of work with people who are justice involved. Cleveland Builds honestly does too. They just have to be a little bit farther along in their journey to start off with Cleveland Builds. And the reason is that the entry requirements for Cleveland Builds are the same as the entry requirements for unions. So they don't want to put people through their training program only to find out afterwards that they actually can't get into an apprenticeship program for don't have a high school diploma or GED, don't have a driver's license, can't pass a drug test, that kind of thing. But in general, unions and the construction sector is very justice involved friendly. They tend not to discriminate in terms of hiring. They want to know whether, what people have been convicted of,
Sure.
Largely because if they're building a school, then that person can't be on that project,
Sure.
depending on the crime. So they ask for transparency. But the best approach is to go through towards employment or Urban League, but we can also talk about whether it would make sense to have that branch, the reentry branch of your department as an aligned partner.
Okay.
So I'd be very open to that.
Great.
I just wanted to add, did you have?
Well, actually, she touched on it. I was gonna ask, what's the response been from our local trades? Obviously, that's still the
Yeah,
way.
yeah. I mean, I think the political situation has thrown a little turmoil into plans on projects and what's going to be funded and what isn't. So they are hiring. They are hiring through our partners. Would I like to see them hire more? Sure. But we also have a situation where other projects that are being shut down, like solar projects, for example. I was talking to somebody in the carpenters union who said they were about 3,000, this was months ago, so it may have changed, but 3,000 people were being, journeymen were being displaced from solar projects and would be reassigned. And so there's also a bit of that kind of shifting work is, I think, probably impacting local contractors or unions' ability to bring on more entry-level workers. But they're still hiring. And there's as I'm sure you know, there are so many development projects right now, and a lot of them are just getting started, that we anticipate over the next couple of years that need for new workers is gonna continue to ratchet up.
Thank you.
I just wanted to mention again, even when you were speaking about the barrier elimination program, just personally thinking about people in my family who sometimes the opportunity may come, and then it's the extra issues that prevent them.
Yep.
And just having a program that can, okay, you got admitted to the training program, but now how do you get the boots? Your first year in the apprentice, but the weather's coming. How do you pay for that extra gear? So I think it's just it's definitely a need. The second part, maybe send an email and then I can make sure we talk. There can be, the county's in the midst of our own budget issues, but still committed to providing the best opportunities for growth for county residents. So definitely don't want that question to get dropped just because it's on a slide, but trying to figure out there.
Great, thank you.
The other question I had was that you hear nationally all these headlines about the gap in the number of trades. So I don't know if there's specific categories. You brought up a couple of issues where there might have been projects that were planned and there's opportunities there, but then you have to pivot and but so I was wondering for our area, you said they're still hiring, but is there still a gap between what's needed and what's available, in the workforce?
Yeah, here's my take on that, and this is, I talk about this all day, every day, so it's an educated assessment, but I'm not in the industry, so it'd be, you can always check to see if people in the industry disagree with me. That there is a gap, but the issue is not just that it's not a gap that that entry-level workers can solve alone.
Right.
It's generations of people who have decided not to go into the trades and instead gone into higher education or other fields. So the gap is that there aren't enough journey workers to take on more apprentices because there have to be a certain ratio of apprentices to journey workers. The journey workers are not upskilling to be construction managers or supervisors at the rate that is needed, or there just aren't enough to do it. So the gap is actually at multiple different skill levels within the industry. All that said, you hear all the time, if you do any searching on this or listening about it, there's a graying of the industry. So a lot of people in construction are going to be retiring soon. And so the challenge is how do you address the entire pipeline,
Right.
not just the entry level? And the Built Environment Collaborative really addresses that entry level piece, while some of our partners, like the Construction Employers Association, is addressing the upskilling piece different ways. I also wanted to mention, you said, you mentioned your, people who are close to you who have been in such similar situations, and I should have put this on the slide deck, but we just had an article in Signal Cleveland at the end of September about a woman who was doing like gig work. There's an app that she used to like clean houses, whatever. She got into a program, and we ended up covering, she had like $285, I think, in back pay and childcare. So she couldn't take her kids back. So we paid that back pay, and then we covered 3 weeks of her childcare, and she's now an operating engineer. And so the headline is something like $285 allowed this woman to triple her income. And so I can also send you that article because it's pretty inspiring and recent.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can you forward that?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have any? Thank you again. Thank you very much. And continuing on, we also have from Carrie Miller.
So
Um,
Janice
ahead.
is not able to make it. They had an emergency at the space, so she
Okay.
is.
So originally it was Denise Contreras and also Carrie Miller, but Carrie, Ms. Miller is available and ready to provide the content. So thank you very much.
Do my best to speak for all of us in the best way, yes.
Thank you.
So thank you for having us and allowing us to give an update on this work. We have been really successful, and we're really excited about the work that's been done, so we're very excited to talk about it. Excuse me. So my name's Carrie Miller. I'm the Executive Director of the Hebrew Free Loan Association, and I'll get into a little bit of what that is because I'm sure most have never heard of us. And I'm also speaking on behalf of Janice Contreras, who runs the Northeast Ohio Hispanic Center for Economic Development. Oops, hit the wrong button. So the Northeast Ohio Hispanic Center for Economic Development, which is the last time I'm going to say that, is the overarching, the umbrella organization for the Hispanic Business Center, the Small Business Development Centers program, and the Northeast Ohio Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and what is now Centrovia. And they really work to empower the Latinx community on Cleveland's Near West Side to find economic mobility through business development, business support, and a variety of other things. And I have some information up here. They serve more than 400 clients annually and have created over 500 jobs, 200 new businesses, and facilitated $18.5 million in startup and growth capital. And that's within a short period of time. So we have partnered with them to provide the technical support for the small business owners looking to come to HFLA for a loan. HBC offers the business consultation, customized financial needs assessment, all the things listed up here. They're also a Tier 1 MBAC center now, so they can provide some of the larger support and help make connections to some of the state funding, which I'm often amazed at how helpful and beneficial that state funding can be. I don't mean to be so surprised, but we are in Ohio. So HFLA, we have been around for 120 years. We offer interest-free loans to those who would not otherwise have access to traditional capital. We are the 21st century embodiment of the Jewish values in which we were founded, which state, I think I may have taken it out, which state that in our Bible that you don't charge interest to your neighbors. And this is what it looks like for us today. Obviously, nonprofit organizations and financing look very different than they did 120 years ago, but our loans actually look fairly similar, in part because we don't charge interest. We don't have an algorithm. We take an individualized approach and a relationship building approach to all of our lending. we just really, really quickly, and just to sort of build on what Renee was talking about, we have three main buckets of lending, of which our business lending is just one. We also have a standard loan, which is most financial needs that should arise, home repair, auto repair. We do some debt consolidation. We're working now to find partners who can provide really strong referrals and serve as a partner in our relationship that we build with these individuals to make sure that we're all benefiting and it's a good relationship and experience for everybody in our lending. We also have a small education loan, $5,000 a year per academic year. We also have, if there's a certification or vocational training program, there is the potential that we would be able to offer the full tuition interest-free. So I say that when I talk about our business lending, because the other piece to that is that it's also fluid. If a business owner comes to us and we know that these small businesses are built on the backs of these business owners' credit, and they're not able to access additional credit because there's too much, we may be able to help with a debt consolidation loan of their personal credit that helps them build on their way back to accessing more credit in different areas. So, again, we also looked at ourselves as being that third option that, you go to a bank and you can have a 30% interest rate, or you can go to a payday lender, which enters you right into that cycle of poverty. Come to us. And one of the other things I would mention that I was thinking about when Renee was talking is that, there are a lot of the public programs for barrier removal or other, the home repair programs often have income limits. Our sweet spot are the people who have an income who don't meet those income limits, but still can't afford the $10,000 roof repair all at once. And so that's really where we can be beneficial. And we look at our business lending as people who are looking to invest in their future and reach that point in their future. So that is how we approach our business lending. I put up here the loan process largely because not dissimilar, not like some of the other groups that are part of this program. We're a nonprofit lender. We're not a CDFI. We're a pure nonprofit lender. So our process is a little bit different. Somebody submits an application. We ask 4 questions in all of our lending. One, is it a need, not a want? When it comes to our business lending, that means can you identify what that need is? Can you tell us your sources and uses for what you're already getting to support your business and where it's going to go, what you need to build or grow, to start or grow your business? Will the loan satisfy the need? And this was really meaningful in this partnership. For this partnership, we increased our loan amount from $20,000 to $40,000, and that made a huge difference in people's ability to really get their businesses off the ground. The third thing that we look at is an individual's ability to repay. For that and for all of our lending, and our business lending included, we will look at all the business finances, income statements, balance sheets, all of those things, but we also look at your personal credit. We know your personal bank statements. We know that, again, new entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, that business and personal bank statement's going to be kind of squishy and going to have a lot of crossover, and we're just making sure that you know where the money is going and you can talk us through it. And then lastly, we're going to look to see that this loan is going to put you on a better financial path. And again, for a business, that means it's going to really launch you. What's been so meaningful about this partnership, we don't offer any technical support for any of our lending. And so to have a partner in this, in the HBC, has been so beneficial, who provides, this has sort of made us work more closely and has allowed HBC to really understand what we're looking for in our lending. Randy Cedeno sits in all of our committee meetings. He advocates for the applicants, but also talks through with us what the pieces are and asks questions to help him understand what we're looking for. So somebody submits an application, they submit all those documents I just listed, and then our board of directors makes all final lending decisions. And so having Randy there and getting to know our board and getting to know those questions has been really meaningful. We sometimes struggle with business support organizations because our objectives aren't always aligned. We are very happy that people put some thought into a slide deck and a business plan. At the end of the day, we only want to look at the slide with the numbers on it. And to really know that people are understanding what their numbers are and how their business works and what the plan is moving forward financially is really what we're looking for. So I already went through all of this. This is the good part. So this is HFLA's lending as a whole, and this is as of 2025. And one of the things that I really wanted to highlight here is that what we have seen, this is what it is as of right now. This has increased exponentially since 2023. Our business lending, because of the relationships with some of these business support organizations, we've been able to grow our business lending, and we've really seen a huge interest and really been able to support a lot of small businesses, both in the startup phase, but also in the growth phase. And we would really love to focus more on that growth phase because we think that's how you make it sustainable. But we are where we are as a community, and you can see here what that difference is. It's more than double what it was in 2023. So that's just an important thing for us. This is the number of loans and the amount. For the loans that we have made through this partnership down here in the chart, we have made 9 of the loans. We've received 14 applications, and I think one of the things that, again, is really important for that is that learning curve. That's what that sort of shows, that we've denied 5 people because it took us some time to get to a place where we all kind of understood how the process worked. We've lent $251,000, over $251,000. We've gotten this much repaid. It's only been a year, so that is appropriate. Again, what's really important though, and for our lending, having just over $1,000 being the only amount that is delinquent is huge. And again, that speaks to that partnership, that we're building this relationship. We make the loan and we do the follow-up, but to have that other partner who can also come behind and say, hey, we got a call that you haven't made your payment yet. It hasn't happened so much yet, but to have that is huge. These are the numbers, the percentage of business loans of our lending. But that 24% is the amount of the loans that we made through this partnership. Of our business lending, 24% in 2024 was through this partnership, and 12% is, and part of that is also the cycle. So one of the things that's also been really meaningful about this partnership is being able to see what it looks like when we invest in a place, in a concentrated place. All these businesses, the 14 businesses that are at HBC or at Centrovia, all together, we're making these loans. It's part of a community. It's part of an initiative, and that's the other reason why we're seeing this success. And this is what the success is. These are the numbers from Janice. Total sales over $1 million within the first year. The hard open, the hard launch was May 31st. The soft launch was around January. It was around this time last year. But this is huge. And one of the things that's not in here is the number of employees that this has brought to that neighborhood, and it's growing. The events that are happening in that space is growing, and one of the things that those events are doing is, when you host an event there, you're using their catering, and people are being introduced to the food and to the business owners, and their catering businesses have grown exponentially. So it's really just multiplied, and it's been really great. Most of those businesses have received the technical support from HBC, and 9 received the financing, and we're still working through the pipeline. There's still some more businesses ready to open up in that space. And now as that space gets full, we're now looking outside of that building. What does it look like now to spread this to the rest of the neighborhood and beyond, but really thinking about that. And what's exciting to me about it, from my perspective, HFLA Purely, is we also have all this other lending that we do. How can we connect to the houses and to the individuals who are in that neighborhood? Because we know that this building's gonna survive if that neighborhood survives. So how can we help people invest in their homes, help people invest in themselves within that neighborhood, and really see how all 3 of these types of investment can, and in a concentrated way, can really just build the whole thing. So that's what gets me really excited. That's really it.
Great.
Any questions? The pupusas are my favorite, if that was going to be your question.
Thank you. And I've been there twice.
Yeah.
Lunch. It's a very nice. Yes. Free parking around.
Yeah.
Right off West 25th Street. Very nice and inspiring because, like you said, it's a lot. Definitely small. A variety and different restaurant
Yeah.
businesses. And just being there, they were telling me about some other event that they're doing. You hear about other events, so it's definitely look like it's bought in from the community.
Well, and there's also the opportunity for incubation, not only within the kiosks, but there's a whole production kitchen. So I know there's one business that's been able to move their distribution to that space in a brand new, safe serve certified kitchen, and so how can we get more of those kinds of things in there too? So it's not even just what you're seeing when you walk in, but there's all kinds of businesses that are thriving as a result.
Yeah, the county executive had one of our executive team meetings there too, so I know there's office or meeting space available.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Am I allowed to comment? We held, the department, our loan committees, outside committee, we held our annual meeting in one of the spaces there too. Because we supported the construction of that
Right,
project
right,
too with the
yeah.
small loan.
Yeah, we held our annual event there, and it was great for us to be, and we're gonna do it again next year. And next year, I'm very excited. It was awesome to be able to highlight our businesses and to tell the business story. Next year, we're gonna have our event there. We're gonna be able to do that, but we're also gonna have a graduation party, so we can also celebrate our education borrowers and those who, are finding success there as well. So.
Well, thank you. Again, thank you both for coming, providing information. Very inspirational. This is our last meeting for this year. So it's good to not only hear the updates from the different departments and agencies, but have such inspiring details from both of your programs. And looking forward to the future. Obviously, you're welcome to stay. We only have a couple of items on the agenda. The last item is our 2026 meeting schedule. This year, we met quarterly on the second month of each quarter. I'm recommending similar, so that would be our next meeting. If we continue the same pace, it would be February 19th, then May 21st, then August 20th, and then November 19th. I know you all have busy schedules, so I'm just providing the general details. We continue the quarterly meeting schedule, February, May, August, and November. If we have a discussion or option, motion.
I move to approve the proposed meeting schedule for 2026.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. I will send out the agenda and not the agenda, but the schedule,
Okay.
reserve time in your calendar. Do we have any closing remarks from anyone?
Just thank you to our speakers for coming today and taking their time to educate us in the community about the great things they're doing.
I
I
agree.
just met with 3 of your colleagues, Greater Cleveland Works, earlier this week too on the arena project, so
They're great.
yeah.
Thank you. I guess we can adjourn. It is 11 o'clock. Oh, right on the dot.
Motion to adjourn?